the basement. A woman's body discovered in a Danbury home has a missing persons case now become a homicide. Good evening, everybody. I'm Keith Kuntz.
I'm Ann Nyberg, reported missing for more than a week. No one has seen or heard from 55-year-old Anna Barros.
Now, a body has turned up in the basement of the Houseman Street home where she lived. Police have not confirmed that it's her. Still, the discovery has neighbors talking. News 8's Aaron Cox on the scene with what they're saying about this still developing story.
Danbury police are still on the scene at the house, but they got their biggest clue that this case had turned criminal when they discovered a female body buried in the basement. The female deliberately killed, dying from multiple puncture wounds.
It's a horrible thought. Just repulses me. And it's scary, very scary.
Neighbors are upset because they think they know the dead woman. Even though police have not identified the body, the woman living in the house, Anna Barros, was reported missing 10 days ago.
That's definitely creepy. Like, you don't expect that ever, especially your neighbor buried, you know.
55-year-old Barros lived at 1 Houseman Street with her sister, brother-in-law, and nephew, though the couple recently moved to Portugal.
The person that lived there with her nephew, he's been moving a lot of stuff out. They've been moving to Portugal.
Much is still a mystery, and detectives seem to be focusing on the house.
I haven't interviewed anyone that I know of. They may have, but they haven't interviewed me, or I haven't seen them door to door.
There's a person of interest that the police will probably be make an announcement about later on.
I feel very sad. It's sad for anyone to have to die like that.
Danbury police detectives expected to be on the scene for quite a while as they try and find clues and determine exactly what happened in this house. Reporting on the scene in Danbury, I'm Aaron Cox, News 8.
Keep tabs on the Danbury home of Anna Barros, the 55-year-old woman who hadn't been seen in nearly a month. And last night, a grisly discovery was made in the home that she shared for 30 years.
Last evening, investigators found an unidentified female body buried in a home at 1 Houseman Street in the basement.
Police now await the results of an autopsy to positively identify the remains and determine the cause of death.
She was just a very quiet, private person. She did her own thing, came and go, went to work, and never bothered anybody, but she wasn't very communicative.
Barros was reported missing on May 28th by her niece. Her car found abandoned in Rogers Park, a short walk away from her home. Her sister and brother-in-law had been in Portugal on and off for years, but her nephew Danny, who lived with her in her home, just recently left the country.
He does that. He goes back and forth because he has a wife and a baby back there. So he goes back and forth quite a bit. It's not unusual to see him go back and forth.
It's not unusual for them to go to Portugal. Danny has a wife and child over there, and the parents who she lived with, her sister and brother-in-law, they've been in Portugal for years.
Danbury police say they have been in contact with family members overseas looking for answers in what's being called a grisly and cold-blooded murder. In Danbury, Tom Lewis, Fox 61 News.
Barros turned up in a local park last week. NBC Connecticut's Marla Matthews has the latest.
I can't believe that would happen. I feel very sorry for her sister that lived downstairs. I just can't believe that would happen.
According to neighbors, Anna Barros was a quiet woman who lived in a quiet home here on Houseman Street in Danbury. They were very surprised, they say, when the 55-year-old Portuguese woman who has lived here for 30 years went missing last month. Her car abandoned in nearby Rogers Park. And today they were shocked to learn detectives reportedly discovered her body buried in the basement floor, right below her apartment.
Every Portuguese in shock, telling you. We have a Portuguese picnic yesterday at the Portuguese club. When we heard the news, everybody was on shock, you know. Some people crying about.
Police say the cause of death, homicide by multiple puncture wounds, and they are still investigating. Barros, according to neighbors, lived with her sister, her sister's husband, and their son, all of whom are in Portugal. Neighbors say the alleged victim's nephew left just a few weeks ago for Portugal, where his wife and baby live.
It's not unusual for them to go to Portugal. Danny has a wife and child over there, and the parents who she lived with, her sister and brother-in-law, they've been in Portugal for years.
Danbury police tell us they are interested in speaking with authorities in Portugal, as well as to relatives of Anna Barros who may have traveled to Portugal in recent weeks. In Danbury, I'm Marla Matthews, NBC Connecticut News.